1 whole year. It's hard to believe we've had the Switch deal for that long. The wait for this was so excruciating. It felt like it lasted years. And now that we have it, well, the time just feels like it's flying by. But it has in fact been 1 year, and that's a special occasion. And to celebrate the first anniversary of the Switch 2, I wanted to take a look back at the first year of the console and highlight 5 highs and 5 lows of that first year. Because, things have been great, but not everything's been perfect. And obviously this is a very personal list, so let me know your list down in the comments. But for now, let's get started with my picks. And we'll start with the positives. Number 1. The hardware itself. Yeah, right off the bat, Nintendo really hit it out of the park with the Switch 2 hardware. Like when the Direct happened back in April 2025, I was super surprised. Like with the display, for example, and like the fact that it was, supports HDR, 120Hz refresh rate with variable refresh rate, and it's a 1080p screen. Like they packed all of this into this handheld. And obviously they're not the first to do it, but considering the price point, having all these great specs in here was really surprising to me. Like this was a very interesting display. And then, everything else, they really improved the Joy-Con with the magnetic connectors, the slightly larger size, the super smooth analog sticks that, in my experience, have not had this Joy-Con drift problem at all, like the original Switch had. So that is awesome. And then, just the performance. Like, it's crazy that something this small can run games like Resident Evil Requiem, Pragmata, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, all these games run on this tiny tablet. And they run super well. Like, they look great for something this small. Like, it's a really good experience. So yeah, the hardware overall from the Switch 2 has been wonderful. Like, I think Nintendo really hit it out of the park in almost every sense here. Like, I know there's a couple of things here and there that are not perfect, but yeah, this was a really good start just to have such great hardware at launch. Number 2. Mario Kart World. We had to wait over 11 years for a truly new Mario Kart game after Mario Kart 8 carried the Wii U and the Switch, but Mario Kart World was really the upgrade that this series needed. Turning the whole game into this open world experience where you can drive from one track to the next, and both in like an actual open world scenario, but in the races, you drive from one course to the next for the tournaments. I think that was just a wonderful idea. All the tracks had to be redesigned to fit this concept. So it's not like even the tracks that come from previous Mario Kart games, they had to be adapted in a way that makes them traversable and able to be entered in multiple ways. So like, it just made for such creative courses overall, and the whole world design was so clever, and it just really comes together really well. Like, the entire game is really, no, I don't know, there's just some passion in it that really comes through in this entire world design. Like, it's so well crafted, and it does wonders for this series. But even just beyond that philosophy, there's so many little things and bigger things that in this game are great. I love like the huge character roster we have this time around with all these random characters that have no business being here, like the cow and everything. I love the new vehicles. Like, the customization that we had in 7 and 8 was really cool, how you could combine things, but we didn't have as many unique parts anymore. So like, having these vehicles that are fully designed to be just entire vehicles, you have so many cool designs now. I really like there's one, I forget the name, it's like Star something, it's I don't know. I really like this design. It has wheels that are not really wheels. It looks like a snowmobile type thing. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but I love the variety in the vehicles themselves. And then, like I said, the tracks in this game, some of them are the best that the series has had just ever. Like, I love tracks like Starview Peak, the Great Question Mark Ruins, Acorn Heights, and Rainbow Road, which in my opinion, the Rainbow Road in this game might be the best in any Mario Kart. Like, Mario Kart 7 is still very close behind, but yeah, this one is wonderful as well. So like, so much in this game was just so well put together. I know a lot of people didn't like the intermission tracks, when you drive from one of the major courses to the next on just like the open road. But I thought that was fine. I like that I like the sort of variety that comes with it, all the combinations you can have from driving between different courses. I think that's really cool. So I didn't really have a problem with that. I know that having the option would be ideal to actually just play courses. But, I think the whole design comes together really well. I'm not oblivious to some of the flaws with this game, but overall I think this is an excellent package. It's exactly what Mario Kart needed. And it's great already. It's improved a bunch already since launch. And I think we'll see it get even better in the future. So this was a good one. Number 3, prices. Wait, what? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it says here I'm insane. I know this is a bit of a weird thing to celebrate, but I do think Nintendo really got the right balance with the prices for the Switch 2 here. Right from the start, I always thought that the Switch 2 was very well priced. I made a whole video comparing it to the Steam Deck and how I thought it was great value because, the Steam Deck started at $400, but, it had like a worse display, it didn't look as nice, didn't have the detachable controllers. Like, there was a lot that made the Switch 2 worth the money. Even at launch, I never thought it was overpriced compared to the competition. But, Nintendo has been quote-unquote helped by a lot of its competitors in recent months. Like, since the Switch 2 came out, things have gotten rough, and it kind of puts the Switch 2 in a better position almost. Microsoft increased the prices of the Xbox. The Xbox Series S went from $300 to $400, and the Series X from $500 to $650. That was last year. Sony initially increased the PlayStation 5 from $500 to $550. And now, just this year, they increased it again to $650 as well. And the Steam Deck, which used to start at $400 with the LCD model, now it starts with an OLED model, and they just announced price increases as well. So it starts at $789. So the Switch 2, by comparison, is already in like a good position at its starting price of $450. But obviously, Nintendo did announce a price increase themselves, but it's only coming in September, and it's only $50 more. So it's going from $450 to $500, which still leaves it with a comfortable margin, from all the other competition in the gaming space. So like, it's a sticky situation, like either way. Obviously, $500 is a lot of money for anyone, and especially in the current circumstances, I get it. But I do think that the Switch 2, compared to its competitors right now, it's a little easier to swallow. So it's still kind of a win. And I also do like what's been happening with the prices of Nintendo games, especially since Mario Tennis Fever kind of bombed apparently at $70. People didn't think that was worth it. And Nintendo seems to have learned, because now we had Yoshi and the Mysterious Books for $60, $70 physical. And then both Splatoon Raiders and the Star Fox Remake are at $50 and $60 for the physical. So that's, honestly, it's great to see that Nintendo is applying their variable pricing strategy that they mentioned a year ago for Mario Kart World when they wanted to justify it being $80. It's good to see that it's not just for pushing prices up, and they are actually willing to bring prices down for games that they think, where that makes sense. So I think they're doing the right thing with the pricing strategy overall. It's pretty good to see, honestly. Number 4, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've already made a full video review of Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I don't want to elongate too much here, but man, what a game this is. Donkey Kong Bonanza is one of the purest forms of fun in a video game, just in a very long time. The fact that the entire world is made of this material that you can just punch and smash all the way through, you can destroy all of it. It's such a joyful basic premise. Like, you can destroy everything and whenever you feel like it, just punch through everything. And you might think, it's fun at first and it gets old. I don't think it ever really gets old. I think you'll do it a little bit less as you go on. But the fact that you can always find gold hidden in the world, or treasure chests, or fossils, and things like that. The fact that you have to explore these levels to get all the collectibles. You're never truly tired of punching through things, I would say. Like, you might do it a little bit less. You won't destroy things just to destroy them. But it plays a role in navigating levels. Like, it's important to do it to progress. So even if you do it in a more mindful way, I think it's still a ton of fun to just be able to plow through all this stuff. And it's just such a great basic concept. And it's still like a game with more things to it. It's not just punching through things. There's platforming challenges and combat challenges and things that really use the mechanics, the basic mechanics of Donkey Kong Bonanza are used really well to make like a super enjoyable experience. So like this entire thing is just so much fun, and it does just enough to like keep you going. I know the boss fights, some people consider them too easy. I get that, I understand why, but it's just so much fun, this entire thing. And that's not even mentioning the Bonanza transformations, which add like other layers of things you can do in this world. And then just the story, like the relationship between Donkey Kong and Pauline, and how it progresses throughout the game. It's so endearing. It really does keep me, at least, like invested in the entire game. It's so cool. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is still the best Switch 2 game. I know some people will argue for Pokemon Pokopia, and if you like the genre of game, I totally understand, but it's not for me, so Bonanza is still the best. And finally, number 5, third-party support. It's been great to see the third-party support for the Switch 2 in this first year of the console. Like, this is an aspect where Nintendo has always struggled a bit, especially since the Wii U. Like, it's really hard to get games on Nintendo platforms that are on other platforms already, especially if you want them at the same time. And it's not where we would want it to be in an ideal scenario, but it is so much better now than it used to be. Like, we had games at launch, like right away. We had Cyberpunk 2077, Hogwarts Legacy, Street Fighter 6, Hitman World of Assassination. Like, all of those were just like there on day one. That was really cool to see. And then we had like the FIFA, EA sports games like FIFA and Madden. They had parity with other consoles for the most part, and they were there on launch. Like, Madden hadn't been on a Nintendo platform in a very long time, so it's back. And then we had like genuinely huge, great games like Pragmata, Resident Evil 7, released day and date with other consoles. And in the case of Resident Evil Requiem, I said 7, I meant Requiem. But in the case of Requiem, like, it launched alongside 7 and 8, like full native ports for the Switch 2. We only used to have the cloud versions on the original Switch. They launched those 3 games on the same day on the Switch, and it's so freaking cool. Like, it's so great to see all those games play great on the Switch 2, and Requiem is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Pragmata is also great. And even some late ports that we've had, they've been coming at a decent cadence. We got Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate in January. That was also looking very good. We just got Rebirth just a few months later, and reports are suggesting that the third part of the Remake trilogy will come on the same day as it does on other platforms. So like, that's super exciting to know that that's all coming. And that's not even mentioning, like, we have an exclusive From Software game, the Dusk Points, coming just to the Switch 2 sometime this year. Like, that's huge. Nintendo getting an exclusive From Soft game, that is amazing. Not everything is perfect, I know. Like, we just had Lego Batman come out on other platforms, and it's only coming to the Switch in September. We just had the 007 First Light come out, and that's coming out later in the summer on the Switch too. I know it's not perfect, but they are coming, at least. And for what it's worth, we just got confirmation that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 will come to the Switch 2 later this year alongside the other versions. It's the first Call of Duty game on the Switch 2 on a Nintendo platform in 13 years. Like, that's huge. Even if I don't care about Call of Duty myself, like, that's just from the perspective of Nintendo being supported. This is a really good place to be. But that's it for the positives. So let me know, did you have any different picks for these 5 items here? Is there anything else you would put as like a very high for the Switch 2 in this first year? Let me know in the comments. But for now, let's move on to the negatives. Number 1, game key cards and just digital retail games in general. I'm not saying anything here that hasn't been said a million times by a million people, but yeah, game key cards are not ideal. Like, I get why they exist. Obviously, there are games that are too big to fit on a Switch 2 cartridge. Over 64 gigabytes, you need the downloads anyway. And even the 64 cartridges we have are very, very expensive, so companies want to save money. And having this option is a good alternative, or an alternative. I get that, but it still kind of sucks because, it's also kind of the worst of both worlds in a way. Like, you still have to put the card in to play the game, but you also still need all the storage space on your Switch 2 or an SD card. Yeah, that sucks. That kind of sucks, and you never know when the servers are going down. It'll be a while, but still, it's just kind of annoying to think that in a few years you might not be able to download these things. And yeah, I get that. That's frustrating. So it's not an ideal situation, but you know what's worse? When retail games that get like boxes in stores don't have a game keycard at all either. Like Split Fiction here. Like this game has a box, you can see it here, but this is just a download code. It's not a game keycard. You still need to link it to the eShop. And it's like, if you prefer digital formats, that's fine. But if you just want to go all digital, why wouldn't you buy this on the eShop? Like, if you're gonna make a box to have at retail, the game keycard should be the bare minimum. I hate that Nintendo went out of their way to come up with this sort of halfway solution to try and please publishers to have, games at retail without all that cost. And companies are still not using it, like at least some of them. Like, why would you do this? So yeah, game keycards suck. I think this sucks more though. Number 2, Switch 2 editions. To be clear about this one, I don't think the concept of Switch 2 editions is a bad idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with this idea of like, oh, you have a Switch version of this game and you want to make it better. You can just upgrade your existing game and it's a thing you download on top of your game and it makes it better. I think that idea is great, actually. And in some cases, like I think Metroid Prime 4, the Kirby and the Forgotten Land, even Animal Crossing New Horizons, I think those upgrades are kind of no-brainers if you have those original games. They make all the sense in the world to get. But I think Nintendo has fumbled a lot of their Switch 2 editions. Like, the Zelda ones are also good because they were included with Switch Online expansion pack, and that was awesome. I think that was really cool, made those games way nicer to look at. But so much else has been just disappointing. Like, Super Mario Power Jamboree was straight up bad. Like that was a bad Switch 2 edition. They only upgraded a portion of the game and split things up in a weird way. Like, I don't understand why that was done. Pokemon Legends EA was weird because it felt really overpriced and the only thing it really did was like improve the frame rates. I don't know, if they were gonna use a Switch 2, they could have done a lot more to make the game look nicer. And Xenoblade Chronicles X, like that was the Switch 2 edition just made it look worse, because they had this sort of upscaling technology that created all kinds of artifacts around the edges of things. They actually just made the game look worse. Like if you look at comparisons, it's in a handheld mode specifically, it's better to play the Switch 1 version with the handheld boost mode that the Switch 2 has now than to play the Switch 2 edition. Like, how does that happen? I don't get it. I would say third parties have been doing a little bit better with Switch 2 editions for some of their games. But there's also been even worse cases of a lot of companies who make Switch 2 versions of a game that don't use the Switch 2 edition system. So like, they're not upgrades for the same game, they're just a new version of the game that you usually have to buy separately. In some cases, if you have the Switch 1 version, they'll sell you the Switch 2 version for cheaper, like Hogwarts Legacy is only $10. Or Stray, which is, I know there's a bug right now, but it's supposed to be free if you want to have the Switch 1 edition. So like, that's fine. But then some of them just, you need to pay full price again, like Sonic X Shadow Generations. That came out as a Switch 2 version, many months after the Switch 1 version. And you have to buy it all over again, like $40 for it. And I don't think there's even a way to like transfer your save data, you just have to start the game over. Like, why is that a thing? And it's still happening. Like just recently, Square Enix announced Dragon Quest XI's is getting a Switch 2 edition. And it's also not an upgrade. You have to buy the game all over again. And it doesn't transfer your save data. This is a huge RPG that people have probably put hours into already and not finished. And you're going to ask them to start the game over just to play the Switch 2 version? Like, what's going on here? I don't understand why this is even a thing. Like, it's so stupid. So yeah, Switch 2 editions are bad. Switch 2 versions that aren't Switch 2 editions are often even worse. Like, this whole thing could be handled way better. And with Nintendo games, that is obviously Nintendo's fault. But with third-party games, like, it's obviously their fault, and I don't know why they're doing that. Like, that's so frustrating. Number 3, Drag and Drive. Man, I don't even have much to say about this one. Like, That's the whole problem. I don't have a lot to say about this. Like, this game was only announced as a showcase to use the mouse controls in a unique way, and that's all it did. And once it was out, they never cared anymore. Like, it was a visually bland, soulless looking game. Like, there's like no color, nothing interesting to the style of this game. The gameplay is really basic. Like, I haven't heard a single person talk about this game since August when it came out. Like, just completely disappeared off the map. And I get why, because like there's nothing to it. It's just same stadium, same game, no visual variety, nothing to unlock, nothing to really keep you coming back. It's just there. It was a demo for a technology and it did its job, but it also cost $20. Like, I didn't buy it. I knew from the get-go that this wasn't for me. And now looking back, yeah, like I don't think this was for a lot of people. Like, I don't think anyone really saw the value of spending $20 on this. Even if you did spend those $20, I assume you haven't touched that game in forever and you didn't really get a lot out of it. Like, honestly. I don't know, that didn't need to exist. I honestly think that the Switch 2 Welcome Tour thing that people were outraged about, I think that was way better value. It was way more charming. There's more variety of things to do there. There are things you can learn, and it's $10. Like, I think that's way better. Honestly, I prefer Welcome Tour to Dragon Drive. That's just how it is. Number 4. So few directs. Do you know how many directs there have been since the Switch 2 came out? Like, general major directs? Just one, back in September. Like, that was it. We had 2 partner showcases as well, so like that's something. But those are shorter, like each one of those was 25 minutes, and they don't feature Nintendo games, it's all third parties. So yeah, like for a company that used to do 3 directs a year, that's pretty like sort of disappointing. And like, I don't want to complain too much, because here's the thing. Obviously, before the Switch 2 Direct, Nintendo announced the Nintendo Today app, and they said they were going to be using that to share news. And they have been doing that. Like, a lot of news has still come out, and in practical terms, that's all that matters. Like, it's not like the lack of directs has meant a lack of games. Nintendo has been putting out games and announcements fairly regularly through Nintendo Today. Like, the practical effects of it are pretty much the same. We're getting the games, we're getting the news that we would get anyway. But like, as a Nintendo fan, I think a lot of people will agree that there's something special about that excitement of having like all these announcements and news packed into like a tight presentation, like 40-45 minutes, and you have all these announcements coming at you in a rapid succession. Like, there's something special to that, you know? So like, I totally understand and sympathize with like, yeah, like that kind of sucks not having more directs, more things to like hold on to in that sense. And I also miss it a lot because I live stream my reactions, and it's really fun to have those live streams and react to big announcements and stuff. I haven't had the chance to do that as much during the Switch 2 generation so far, so I miss that. And I know a lot of people do it too. You know, there's rumors that we're gonna get one next week on June 9th. Let's hope that's the case. But yeah, it's been a little slower than usual, and I don't necessarily love that. And number 5. Portuguese translations. Now, I know this one is very niche, very specific to me, you might not care at all, but this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, so I thought it makes sense to throw in here. So here's the thing, Nintendo games have never traditionally been translated to European Portuguese. That started changing a little bit during the 3DS and Wii U generations. We had the system software translated for the first time, and then games like a lot of the Mario games are translated and stuff. Like, that's when it started changing. But then, you know, it's kind of stopped now during the Switch 2 generation. The only game on the Switch 2 by Nintendo that's in European Portuguese is Mario Kart World. And I remember actually when it came out, I was playing it. There was even a translation error in there, like a small thing right on the title screen. So that's the only game right now that's in full European Portuguese here in Portugal. And it's frustrating because, you know, they've been relying a lot more on Brazilian Portuguese for their games. You know, Donkey Kong Bonanza is in Brazilian Portuguese, Kirby Air Riders is in Brazilian Portuguese, Mario Tennis Fever is in Brazilian Portuguese, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. There's another one that I can't think of right now, I think Pokemon Pocopia is also in Brazilian Portuguese. So like, all of these games are coming out in Portuguese, but the Brazilian version, which, you know, is quite a bit different from what I speak, like there's a lot of differences. in some of the words you use, the way you phrase things. There's just a lot of differences that make things a little bit jarring when you see Brazilian Portuguese. And I'm happy for the people in Brazil that get to play these games in their language and in the language that they speak. That's awesome. But I do miss having those in European Portuguese as well. And I don't fully understand why. Like, I get that Portugal is a really small country and not the most wealthy, so I know video games probably don't sell a ton here to begin with. But, they did it before. On the 3DS, games like Yoshi's New Island were in European Portuguese. Mario Tennis Open was in Brazilian Portuguese. So, like, it feels like we've taken steps back. Like, Nintendo is only translating the, like, absolute biggest of the biggest titles in their lineup to European Portuguese. Like, there was Mario Kart World. Before that, I think Super Mario Bros. Wonder back in 2023 was European Portuguese. That's it. Everything else is just Brazilian Portuguese. And it's weird to me because, they advertise Brazilian Portuguese on the box here in Portugal. But if they think that translation is, like, worthy of advertising and talking about, I also wonder, like, why not just take that as the basis and then adapt it to European Portuguese? Like, that still work. Obviously, there's enough differences there where you have to, like, be careful and do things properly. But I can't, like, it has to be easier than just translating from English or Japanese, right? It's the same language. You just have to make the tweaks to make it sound European Portuguese. And, like, why not just do that? Like, you could still save a lot of money by doing it that way, and you'd make experiences that feel way more native to the people here. I don't understand why that's not being done. It's a little frustrating. I'm happy for my Brazilian friends out there. I hope you get to enjoy those games in your own language. But yeah, I really do miss having games in European Portuguese. Because, like, no offense, I do prefer playing games in English. If they're not in European Portuguese, I'd rather use English than Brazilian Portuguese. And that's a shame because, like, I don't want Nintendo, if they have all their data and access to, like, what I'm doing, they can probably tell what language my system is in. And they might think I don't care about playing in Portuguese, which I do, but I don't want to play in Brazilian Portuguese. So, that sucks a little bit. Anyway, that wraps up my thoughts on the first year of the Switch 2. I think overall it's been very good. Like, I've really enjoyed this first year of the Switch 2. Obviously, there are downsides, as there are to everything. Not everything is perfect. There's some problems here and there with the Switch 2 and Nintendo's approach to things. And obviously, that's gonna happen sometimes. Nintendo is not perfect at all. But I really like the first year of the Switch 2. I think Nintendo has put out a lot of great games. I think third-party support on the Switch 2 has been great. The hardware of the Switch 2 is great. I really enjoy playing on it. So, like, I'm really enjoying this system so far, and I'm really excited to keep enjoying it for the future. So yeah, happy birthday, Switch 2. I hope you have many more. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.